They are the restaurants that we cherish and hold a special place in our hearts, where warm and welcoming staff greet us with a smile and make us feel like cherished guests. These are the establishments that whisk us away on a culinary adventure, and no detail is overlooked in offering extraordinary dining experiences. It is where we choose to toast our achievements and celebrate milestones with our loved ones. They are the distinguished restaurants of North America, and every DiRōNA has a story. Meet Jasper Mirabile Jr., renowned chef, restaurateur, and author. His culinary radio show on KCMO in Kansas City has been on the air for over 18 years. Jasper and his family welcome hundreds of diners each evening in their family's restaurant, first opened by his parents and grandparents.
So 1954, we're going on 70 years. It's coming April 1st. And my father used to always say April Fool because I'll tell you, when he moved, well, he didn't really move. He had a bar downtown with my grandfather, and he came south to Kansas City. The road actually stopped. It was a dirt road, you know, the streetcar stopped there. And he bought this property on 75th and Warnell. And everybody said, you'll never make it. There's no streetcar there. There's, nothing's there. And he said, you know what, give me a chance. And he always used to say every April 1st, and Leonard, my brother, who was in the restaurant with us also, very well, every year he repeats. He also repeats a lot more, but, April Fool, Dad had the fool on everybody else, because who would believe that, 70 years later now that we're here and still going very, very strong. And it just started as a mom and pop operation.
And now I wouldn't say you're second generation. You might be third generation. Your grandmother had a hand in that first location. Is that right?
Exactly. Actually, Papa and Nana both had a hand in it. Papa would open in the morning and close at nighttime for Dad, and he ran the register. Nana, of course, did the cooking in the kitchen. Mama was home raising 3 boys at the time. I came along in 1962. So Mom would actually tell the story about how she used to boil a couple of dozen eggs and put them in a jar with some vinegar and water and put them on the end of the bar. And that would be her money that she got. And sometimes she would get maybe $6 a week or $8 a week. And to hear stories like that, about, like Dad used to say, they didn't have a lock on their apartment door when they first were married. And they used to use a little screwdriver, something to just open it up. And Dad, his first paycheck, he made $70 that week, and was like, he told my mom, he said, this is going to be big. We're going to really make it here someday. And who knew what the restaurant would grow into at the time? But Nana was back in the kitchen with her recipes. And I must refer to Nana, I'm not kidding you, 20 times a week minimum with people.
Wonderful. Now, it was big. I mean, your dad, I think it was 1972, we discussed, your dad received the Holiday Award, which exceptional back then for any restaurant across the US or Canada at the time. Was it 72 that he had received it?
1972, and I'll never forget, he called home and we were outside, and my mom was screaming inside. I'll never forget this. And she was screaming. She said, oh my God, Dad's coming home. She said, we're going to celebrate. He got the Holiday Award. And this was something that he cherished. And Robert Balzer at the time had made the personal phone call to him. We didn't have PR companies back then working for us or anything like that. We were just picked up because there was a lot of conventions coming to Kansas City. The Kansas City Chiefs had won the Super Bowl a couple of years before, and the town was kind of up and coming, and people were finding out about Kansas City. And I think my dad's main thing was to tell people, we're just not a steak and potato town. It's not just all about barbecue, which to this day, we have the best steaks and the best barbecue in America. I still feel so.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, 10 years old at the time, 1972, did you know then that this was going to be your future in hospitality?
No doubt about it. I knew it when I was 6 years old. How many other kids, while their friends are all playing outside, playing t-ball and everything, and I'm sitting on the counter with Nana, watching her put together 4 or 5 ingredients into this big family meal on Sundays or even during the week. I would spend a lot of time at my Nana's house. I was the youngest. As my brothers used to say, I was spoiled rotten. I had everything at my Nana's house, had everything at my mama's house, and we only lived a block apart. So, oh, the meals Nana would prepare. And still to this day, if I'm not feeling well and I have, I wake up and Lisa, I don't, something's the matter. I don't feel, I need a little bit of pasta with the peas today. Or I think I'll make a little bit of Nana's brodo, that she used to prepare for me. I was the baby, come on. And then they go home and mom would be preparing for four boys, dinner for four boys. You can imagine, the night she would make pork chops, there'd be 24 pork chops in the oven, cooking. And dad, was not at home. We didn't see dad unless we went to the restaurant. We would see dad on Sundays and we would see him on Monday nights. He started taking off in 1970. He started to take a little break at 42 years old. That was his kind of, I get to have a night off. But other than that, growing up in the restaurant business, we all started when we were 8 years old at the restaurant. My brother Salvatore, who's an attorney, worked there. My brother Jim, who's a OBGYN, same way. And Leonard and myself, and we all started cutting bread. We worked on the bread station, putting the baskets together for the bus persons.
Incredible. Now, take us to, there was a moment, Jasper's is in a different location now.
Yeah.
There was a time when obviously your dad had sold downtown, I believe, the location, and you've opened up something special just on the outskirts of town. Is that correct?
Yes. So we were at 75th and Warnell, of course, for 45 years, and it was time to move. Fine dining in 1998 was kind of at the point where, boy, you were kind of in trouble if you said the word fine dining to people, And it wasn't like we were in a recession or anything like that, but other restaurants were opening up, more casual restaurants. This is Kansas City, home of Gilbert Robinson. And they spread all around the country with their restaurants. And Dad knew something at the time. I didn't see it. Unfortunately, I was 36 years old, but wow. I said, we're doing great here. We had a great business. It was a great location, but he saw something, and then Walgreens came along. So it was kind of like the drug wars back in the late 90s, Walgreens and Osco. And Walgreens wanted a location right across from Osco, the biggest one in Kansas City, and my father had it. So he held out for a year, and he found a location on the 103rd and State Line, which was just, he saw the future. I still think of that every day when I walk in this building. And it was out south, an affluent neighborhood, and we still had the name, the reputation. I'll never forget, I wanted to change the name. I thought that, Dad, maybe we need to, we're saying we're going to go down a little bit. We're not going to have the tuxedo waiters anymore. That hurt. We weren't going to do all the table side. That hurt. Maybe we should call it, Jasper's Bistro or Cafe Jasper's. Keep the Jasper's name in there somehow. And he argued it, and we even had a PR company make a logo up and give us, now they must have brought a binder that big of things that we needed to do. And the day my father passed away, October 8th, 1998, the restaurant was not open yet, the new location. We were off for almost a year. And Leonard and I went to the restaurant that morning early because we'd left the hospital after he passed, went down there, and that envelope was sitting there. And it was a UPS paper, envelope. And I opened it up and I looked at it. I walked to the back and I threw it in the trash. And I looked at Leonard and he agreed. To this day, we still agree. This will always be Jasper's no matter what. And we'll continue Dad's tradition. And that's what we do today. That's kind of our job. That's really myself, upholding not only the tradition of, Italian cucina, but keeping my dad's legacy alive. And, people say, oh, they should have closed 40 years ago. Oh, it's not the same. They don't walk around with lighters and light your cigarettes, ashtrays. And, well, people don't smoke, number one, anymore. Times changed. We took the tablecloths off the table, and we still have the same china, same silverware, same glassware. We had the same chef in the kitchen until 4 years ago. How about that? Wow. That came from the old location along with other employees. So we're very, very fortunate.
Well, it's a special place. And your parents know that to DiRōNA, there's a dear spot for both of them. Your dad, Hall of Fame award winner. More importantly, are the stories. And if you talk to our dear friend who passed this year, John Arena, or Ted Ballester, Bert Catino, the stories of your parents traveling with DiRōNA are exceptional. And I know that your own, growing up with them, a part of DiRōNA, that it's a near and dear situation with them, that there's certainly a lot of passion, a lot of love for your parents within the organization.
Never saw my dad laugh so much and be so comfortable and so relaxed than when he was with his friends from DiRōNA. And it was it was a new Jasper for him. It was, he had turned 60 at that time when DiRōNA started. And wow, he met people, he started traveling more, and we learned a lot and made so many friendships that we carry on today. It was really something else. And DiRōNA, I'll tell you, it still holds a very special place in the heart of the Mirabile family, especially Leonard and I.
Well, we're grateful for both of you. So tell us about the new location. Any traditions, menu-wise, that you've carried on or out on the floor? What has sort of been a staple for your family regarding hospitality? What transitioned maybe from the first location to the second location?
Well, scampi alla Lebanese and the Capella d'Angelo alla Nani are still on the menu. The veal dishes are still on the menu. A couple of the chicken dishes are still, along with the pasta dishes. But my father saw the future, and saw that, first of all, we didn't have the overhead like we had at the other restaurant with all the surroundings. So we lowered the prices. That was number one, but we knew we had to keep, that Jasper's name was something in Kansas City. So we still had the attention to detail, the chilled fork with the salad, offering the cracked pepper the minute they served the Caesar salad, but no more tableside Caesar. So I missed some of those things, pre-setting the dish, the table. We still do before the dessert cart. Oh, I would never get rid of that dessert cart in 1,000 years. It comes by every single table. Our dessert sales still today are 60 to 70% strong for every single table, which is, an extra half an hour in your service. We don't turn the tables as much, but we were very fortunate with the new location to hire Paul Robinson from Gilbert Robinson. Paul had retired. Joe Gilbert had passed away. And Paul came on as a consultant. And I'll never forget, he picked out these chairs. And I love to tell this story. And they were just the opposite of Jasper's chairs, the velvet chairs that you sunk into and you didn't want to get up for 3 hours. The big, heavy red back boots, velvet boots, and the flock wallpaper. And Paul picked out these chairs. And my dad sat at home. They brought the chairs to the house. My dad wasn't feeling well, and the restaurant wasn't ready yet. And my dad sat and said, "Oh my God, Paul, these are so uncomfortable." He said, "Jasper, 90 minutes. And I looked over at Leonard. What's he talking about? 90 minutes. You can't sit in this chair more than 90 minutes. That's how we built Houlihan's. That's how we built Plaza 3, his other restaurants. And that, kind of was my understanding there that, times are changing and maybe it's time. So when we first opened up the restaurant, we did have some backlash from people. They'd walk in and say, "Look at these chairs. What's going on here?" The hostess didn't have her tuxedo on, or the host didn't stand there at attention. Richard, he had passed away also during the transition to the new location. The bar was still lively and all, but it was, it wasn't the same as the old Jasper's. And you had to walk through an Italian market and deli that we built. They kind of let people know about that. Did it work out at the beginning? Yes, the crowds were there. Paul Robinson told Leonard beforehand, "Controlled confusion. Wait till you see how I have it." The front desk area was small. We had this huge lobby at Jasper's, the Fortuny fabrics, and the carpeting. We even brought the carpeting from the old restaurant. Oh, when we sold the Walgreens, Leonard stayed on for 6 months before they tore the building down. He took everything, including light bulbs, all the equipment. So it was an easy transition that way. All of our cooks came with us, some of the servers, the bartenders, so we were very fortunate in that way. But we did change some things. And there were some food critics at the time, some national food critics who came to Kansas City, and they said something has happened here, and they didn't quite understand it. Jasper put lasagna on the menu. It was my father's idea to put lasagna back on the menu. Why? Because that's how he started off in 1954. He knew what he was doing. I didn't see it. I keep telling you that. I didn't see the transition like I should have probably. So we came full circle at this location because we started off with 12 tables in 1954, mom and pop operation. And Nana was doing the cooking, Dad was out front, and he was self-taught, so we really have come full circle. And today we're very fortunate. Last night in the dining room, I counted 12 tables from the old restaurant who still come in. Now it's a very big restaurant. We seat over 175 people, plus the private rooms and the catering and Marco Polos, all under one roof. But things have changed, but I think they've changed for the better. And I always think if Dad was looking down right now, he would say, wow, he said, this is what I wanted. And I think he'd be proud of my brother, myself, my other two brothers, and of course, the grandchildren and great-grandchildren who joined the family business.
Incredible history and an incredible story. You began at the age of 8. You headed off to hospitality school in Las Vegas, am I right?
Yes, Leonard the same way. Leonard went to Denver University. I went to University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Jerry Vallon was the dean, and something we connected. I could have gone to Cornell, could have gone to Michigan State, could have gone to Houston. Those were the 4 top restaurant hotel schools in the country, along with Las Vegas. And I chose Las Vegas not for the glamour, because once you got there, forget it. I mean, yeah, you went out the first couple of days. You're on campus. You're in a whole different world. And for me, that was more where my marketing, I think, came in, the business side, because I can cook. I mean, my father taught me how to cook. Manuel Cervantes, my father's chef, taught me how to cook. My dad sent me to cooking schools. So I knew how to cook, but I didn't have that business background. And that's what I think University of Nevada, Las Vegas taught me. And coming back here to Kansas City, and my love for people in the dining room. Right now, I'm in the dining room 60 to 70% of the time now. I'm kind of the old man now. I'm kind of Jasper now in the dining room. Some of these young kids come in, they say, Jasper, and I always say, my father was Jasper. People who know me from back in the day, grade school, used to call me JJ in high school. Now people call me Jasper, and sometimes it's kind of hard to take that name on your shoulders, but I think we carry it well.
Well, I think your dad would be proud. Now, the business side must have fared well for you. You each week you have a radio show that you host. Is that correct?
18 years. I am so lucky. I tell this team every week, how lucky we are still to be in business for almost 70 years and to have a radio show. We have a couple of sponsors. One sponsor has been on for 18 years, unheard of in the radio business. And it's a top station in Kansas City, KCMO Talk Radio. And that radio show, last night I'm walking through the dining room, customer tells me, I love how you support other restaurants. The show was called Live from Jasper's Kitchen. That was marketing back 18 years ago. That's how we chose the name. But it's all about supporting the locals. And I have one of the best, sponsors in the country, David Ball from Hen House. It's all about local farmers and local supporting everything that's local food artisans. So we talked about Jasper's maybe a minute out of the show, if that. But we have 4 different restaurants on every week, or restaurateurs, people in the hospitality business, farmers, someone with a new product. That's what it's all about.
Well, it's been an incredible 18 years, no doubt. Now, Kelly and I had we're fortunate to join you, Leonard, and your wives just 2 months ago in New Orleans. We spent 4 incredible days together. You told me a story about a book you're writing right now. What is that all about?
It's called On the Cannoli Trail, and I'm halfway through it. I've had a lot more, but at the end of my first cookbook that I wrote along with our family, it was all about traveling and eating, and mostly 90% recipes, and a lot about mom and dad and everything. And right before the book was going to press, I was in Italy, and I was on the way from Calabria to Sicily to see my family. And I'm passing the Messina Straits, and we arrive. And the first I get off, and I'm back when I was 8 years old the first time I went to Sicily with my dad. and I had to stop and get a cannoli at the same place that was still there. Moved us up another year and a half, and I bring my nephew back to Sicily with me. We get off the plane in Palermo. We're at the airport. I go for a cannoli and espresso at 8 a.m. in the morning. We arrive at the bus terminal. We take a little break. I grab a cannoli. Noon, we're by the hotel. I see a little cannoli stand. This continues on. My nephew looks at me about 6 o'clock at night. He said, Uncle Jay, what's going on with the cannolis? I said, hey, we're on the Cannoli Trail. And that's when I wrote the end of the first book, being on the Cannoli Trail. And that was kind of like a tease for this new book. And it's all about traveling the world looking for the finest cannoli, whether I'm in New Orleans with you. Angelo Borcato makes a fantastic cannoli and risottos, I'll tell you that right now, along with traveling to Kansas City, in my own hometown, New York, Boston. It doesn't matter. And I will give you a little tease, a little hint. I did find the finest cannoli. It was the last day in Sicily with my cousin. I love this story because he brought us this box after being with him for 12 days, and we never say goodbye. It's not always, because I don't like saying the word goodbye. And he handed us this box, and it was incredible. I walked upstairs. My nephew said, "Are you going to open it?" I said, "No." Us Sicilians, Italians, they wrap things 100 times to bring back home. My nephew opened the box up, and there was a cannoli and a little note that said, "You traveled all throughout Sicily, but you never asked me for a cannoli." And I had tears in my eyes thinking of Nana, Papa, my family in Sicily. I took one bite, and I found the world's greatest cannoli. Was it the best tasting cannoli at that time? Yes, because the memories and everything that came about through that. So cannoli is my life. I celebrate cannolis every day, 30 cannolis in 30 days. I started National Cannoli Month in September. I travel to police stations and fire stations and hospitals and pass out cannolis to people. So it's fun. It's exciting. It has nothing to do with marketing. The marketing comes with it, I guess.
Now you have a cannoli that continually gets stolen, am I right?
Oh my God, come on. The Cannoli-mobile. Not anymore. The grandchildren came up with another. They have this big bar on the wheel, but I guess it was kind of fun for people at nighttime to steal the Cannoli-mobile. And it made national news. My daughter was in Florida and called me, "Daddy, did you know I just heard about the Cannoli-mobile?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "It's on the news." I said, "I know." So we have it back. It's in the parking lot. People know about the Cannoli-mobile. You'll see them around town, driving around town like the Scooby-Doo mobile, same thing.
Well, we, on behalf of DiRōNA, DiRōNA is special because of families like yours, your support, passion for the industry, philanthropy, what you do for your communities and what you give back. It is why DiRōNA exists and why we have so many special restaurateurs. So from the bottom of our hearts, we can't thank you and your family enough for your continued support of DiRōNA. It's very special to us.
Well, Scott, I have to tell you and your wife, continuing the tradition of DiRōNA means more to us than anything else. There are many awards out there, but something with DiRōNA holds a special place in our heart, and we are very, very grateful to you. And I spread the word about DiRōNA, and I will keep doing that. But people, when they get involved with a group like DiRōNA, and you get to meet other restaurateurs. And I want that legacy to go passed down to the grandchildren in our family and let them see it and continue what DiRōNA is doing. So it's our way of giving back. And gosh, I absolutely love it. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for joining me today. It's always special to spend time with you.
I'm honored.
Thanks, Jasper.